Hey, my beautiful family and friends, my reflections. How are we? Doing good. Welcome back to my channel. If you watched my last video about stillness, I wanted to continue that conversation today because stillness is only part of the big picture. A lot of people hear the word stillness and they think it means slowing down forever, pulling back from life, or waiting until everything feels perfect before moving. But that's not what stillness is for. I'm Shanelle. I'm a creative oracle and spiritual artist, helping people through healing and expression. What I've learned through my own healing and creative work is that stillness is the container, but momentum is what actually moves your life forward. So today I want to talk about momentum, why it's not the same as being busy, and why I call it spiritual currency. I'm going to break it down. Momentum is not speed, it's not rushing, and it's not doing 100 things at once. Momentum is forward energy that builds when you keep taking small, honest steps that actually match who you are. It's spiritual currency because it grows over time. The more you move in alignment, the more life responds. Static energy doesn't change anything. Change happens when energy starts moving. In my last video, I talked about stillness. Stillness is important, but it's not the end goal. Remember, I showed the glass of water and I said that stillness was the container. If stillness is the glass, momentum is what moves inside the glass. Stillness helps you get clear. Momentum is what helps that clarity show up in your real life. Without stillness, movement becomes chaotic. Without movement, stillness turns into stagnation. Together, they create balance. Momentum builds when your intention is clear and you keep showing up in small, aligned ways. You're not fighting yourself. You're not constantly stopping and starting. You're not questioning every step. And once momentum starts, things feel different. Life doesn't feel as heavy. You don't have to force everything. You stop getting stuck in the same patterns. Because when you're moving forward consistently, it's harder to fall back into old loops. I've been building momentum with my YouTube channel. And honestly, it took me years before I ever posted my first talking video. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I was waiting for everything to be perfect. But what finally changed was my mindset. I stopped being a perfectionist and accepted that everyone has to start somewhere, right? And before I posted that first video, I had been practicing stillness, and I had reached a point of inner alignment where I wasn't fighting myself anymore. So when I finally hit upload, it didn't feel forced. That first video wasn't long, and I only had a few subscribers, but I kept showing up consistently without pressure. And that's when the momentum started to feel different. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't performative. It wasn't coming from fear. The stagnation was over. The momentum picked up. And what I understand now is that I was building spiritual currency the whole time, even before the numbers changed. I think of momentum like an energy bank, or a treasure chest in this case. So, every aligned action that you take is a deposit. Even the small little actions that you take. Doing nothing when you know better slowly drains your energy. So it's like a withdrawal. Putting things off has a cost. So it's like banking fees. Avoiding the same truth over and over weighs you down, like going bankrupt energetically. So at any moment, you're either building energy, which increases the balance of your spiritual currency, or you're wasting energy, which can nickel and dime all of it away, or you're investing your energy into building something that actually supports you, like your personal growth and community. Spiritual growth isn't about gaining more and more knowledge. It's mostly about acting from what you already know, even before you see results, which is faith. Big changes don't happen because of your thoughts alone, or just because you think differently one day. They happen because you start moving different. When momentum builds, opportunities show up faster, resistance feels lighter, support appears, and you start trusting yourself more. You don't remember who you truly are by waiting. You remember by taking steps that match who you're becoming. So if you feel stuck, don't wait for motivation. Start small, one honest action at a time. Something creative, something grounded, something that puts you back into your body. Repeat it daily without watching for results. And don't judge how well you did. Just notice that you showed up. Sometimes you also have to name what you're doing before it looks successful. You say stuff like, I'm building momentum, and this matters, or I don't need proof to keep going. Momentum doesn't stop to check if it's working. It keeps moving until it becomes obvious. Honestly, the story of my life could be called momentum. Sometimes it feels like if you looked up the word in the dictionary, you'd see me right there smiling. Because it hasn't been easy and it hasn't been fast, but it's been forward. And there were times when the journey felt painfully slow, like my view count being super low on my YouTube channel. And it didn't feel fair to spend hours to put a video together. But I can see now that I was always moving, always learning, and always building through that process, right? Perhaps I set my sights on something super ambitious, and that kind of fulfillment just takes time. Either way, the real work is learning how to move forward without letting doubt slow me down. Momentum isn't about speed. It's about staying in motion, even when your mind tries to convince you to stop. Self-sabotage loves waiting. It loves overthinking. It loves asking, do I feel ready? But once you're in motion, those patterns lose power. I used to dive into research in YouTube University, but sometimes the way out of a spiral isn't another realization, it's movement. And you don't have to ask how you feel about the next step, you take it. And over time, your actions shape your identity. You become what you practice, and what you practice becomes your environment. For example, this cozy little reading nook has become an environment for content creation. And I have many creative zones in my space, and that's how my environment is shaping my future as a content creator or whatever it may be. All right, let me make my final point. Momentum isn't about productivity. It's about self-respect. Because every aligned action says, I remember who I am. I trust myself. I'm moving forward even when no one is watching, even when it's quiet, even when nothing dramatic happens, even when the results take time. Momentum is how you stay connected to yourself. And you are a co-creator. Don't forget that. So if you've been waiting to feel ready, confident, or certain before you move, let this video be a reminder. You don't build momentum by waiting. You build it by moving. So take the next honest step and let life respond to your motion. Because what if I told you that you can't make a wrong choice? What would you do? What direction would you take? Trust your rhythm. If this message resonated, let me know in the comments. And if you want more reflections like this around growth, creativity, and embodiment, you're welcome to subscribe. All right, take care of yourself. And until next time, peace. Love you guys.